What's up? Welcome back to the Triple Cross podcast. We got a special guest today. We're going to talk some LeBron. We're going to talk some NBA. It's all coming up. Let's go.
Lillard with 47 tonight. Working it down to 2-1. A deep three. Oh! What? Blazers win the series. A walk-off three for Damian Lillard.
Samuel, wide receiver screen. Good play. Big play. And in for the touchdown.
And Turner looks for the deep left field. Raising back his profile, and it's a 1-0 start for the Dodgers.
Second batter of the game, and the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead.
What's up, everybody? Obviously, a different setup today. If you're used to listening to us, we've got myself and Casey here on the screen. Casey's our AJ Hawk of the day. A little Pat McAfee shout out there. Oh, hey, now he's got his own. Now it's just Casey. And we also have a special guest today, Mr. Jared. Do you want us to use your last name? Do you want people to know who you are?
Go for it.
All right. Mr. Jared Bagley, a friend of mine. Play hoops with him. That makes him an expert on basketball, I think, in my opinion. He's the best basketball player I know. So, personally now. Yeah, Jared, tell us about yourself a little bit. Played some college hoops, right?
Yeah, so I played some college ball, played in high school, and me and John, we hoop most weekends and then during the week, and so I'm excited to be here, an avid basketball fan. So I'm glad to be able to join the podcast today.
We hoop on the weekends and during the week, Casey.
Yeah.
Both things. So, all right, little 21 questions, not really 21. Few questions for you, Jared, before we get started and talk about LeBron. Who's your favorite player of all time?
Favorite player of all time is LeBron James. Love LeBron.
I guess we're talking about LeBron anyway.
But if I had to pick a close second, it'd be Steve Nash. But yeah, LeBron.
That's an interesting second. Why Steve Nash?
Yeah, the thing about Steve Nash I loved is his versatility, both as a scorer and getting his teammates better. His footwork, and just as a small guard, I'm like 6 foot, and so seeing Steve Nash play and dominate in the NBA was like I modeled a lot of things in my game after him, and so I love his game. All right.
I liked when you said small guard.
Yeah, you and I both
was like at 6 feet, you're small.
Yeah, well, compared to the NBA, seeing him compared to
right, yeah. So compared to Steve
I live
Nash,
in a 2 by 3 foot box here. Okay, so like I'm as small as it gets.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite? So are you like a LeBron fan, like wherever he goes, like you're one of these people that just whatever team LeBron's on, that's your favorite team?
Yeah. So if you'd have seen me in 2018, I had the Cavs jersey.
We'll see you next time. No, that's all right. It's all right. So now you're a Lakers fan.
Of course.
At least they suck, so that's good. For us.
We still cheer for them.
Yeah. I mean, do you have like a team that you fall back on, or you just like what happens when LeBron retires? Are you just not an NBA fan anymore?
Yeah, so I'll always be an NBA fan. I'm still working on that. I might have an identity crisis, but I am a Jazz fan. So worst comes to worst, I like the Jazz when they're not playing LeBron.
Okay, so it's like as long as they're not playing the Lakers, you're in the Jazz.
That's
That's cool. Yeah,
Jazz.
I mean, maybe we could just do a little offshoot Jazz show or something like that.
Awesome.
All right, so like random question. Do you like sushi? You a sushi eater?
I do.
Like a lot, or like if it's there, I'll eat it.
It's like mid. I actually didn't try a piece of sushi till I was 19 years old, and so I recently I've
like last year,
a couple of years ago, But yeah, I actually enjoy it. I'm not avid, but I love sushi. Yeah, it's good.
So like if you had like a craving for sushi, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Casey, are you a sushi eater? You're over here in my head. I know that.
Yeah, man. No, I'm a sushi guy for sure. I'm way into it.
You're an aficionado.
I mean, hey, I like what I like. I like Vegas rolls. I like things like that. Like nothing like too intense. Like some sashimi is good at moments, but yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it too. Like if it's got like cream cheese or if it's deep fried, I'm in.
I mean,
it's not really sushi.
You could deep fry a sock filled with cream cheese and it'd be delicious. So,
okay. So if you were like, it had a sushi craving, right?
Yeah.
You're at the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
There's some sushi there.
Uh-huh.
It's 50% off,
Mm.
but it's a day old.
Mm.
Like it's like yesterday's.
Mm.
Like that's the expiration date on it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Would you eat it?
Hold
I
on,
would.
Jared.
You would?
Yeah. Whoa, hold on.
Wait.
Yeah, let's hear.
This is very important.
Which store is this?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, good question.
Thank
This
you.
happened to me earlier today. This is why I'm asking.
Okay.
I've seen
It was
sushi at convenience stores, which is
It was
Yeah.
and that was a great question because
Yeah.
there's a grocery store near my house that makes like fresh sushi every day.
Yeah.
And that and like their day old would be like it was made yesterday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So yeah, that's good clarification.
But it was not that store. It was a Walmart.
Okay. Yeah, if it's Walmart, no.
Yeah, hard no.
In my mind, I was
Hard
thinking
pass.
something more. Yeah, no,
You were
no
thinking
Walmart.
the
I was thinking
grocery
like,
store.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a little
Yeah.
Lee's, like a
Yeah.
place like that. Okay.
Yes.
No.
No, that was a good qualifier.
Yes.
Casey, I'm glad you didn't just like lead him into that. All right, cool. Yeah, this is fun. This is gonna be fun for you. All right, let's talk LeBron. Did you watch the game last night?
Unfortunately, I didn't watch the game, so I just had to go through some highlights and ESPN. I watched the game the night before and they lost, unfortunately.
Were you busy destroying me last night? Is that why you didn't watch it?
But I had some work to do on the men's league, but
Yeah. Jared beat my men's league team by 40 points last night. Not just Jared, but it was mostly Jared. He probably scored 40. Yeah, so 49. Let's pull it up. So LeBron, 140 points for the Lakers, and they gave 132.
Yeah.
So like, come on.
yeah.
But LeBron, just so you know, like this play game, last couple plays, 48 points, 8 rebounds. What are who do you think has had like the best game this year? Like Luka's 60, 20, 10. That's pretty insane.
That's probably the best game overall, just individual performance.
Yeah.
But I mean, LeBron, he's had a lot of those 40-point games, but as far as just one game, I'd have to say, Luka's was insane.
LeBron took 48, Russell Westbrook 24, Wenyen Gabriel.
Mm-hmm.
Was he a G League pull-up? I've never even heard of him.
Yeah, so he played at Kentucky, and then like last year they just pulled him up because they needed guys. It was either last year or early this year, and yeah, he's got a good role now.
Yeah, what like a rotational role? Because like,
Mm-hmm.
is it just because they're like hurt and bigger? Like when Anthony Davis comes back, will he be?
Yeah.
Will Wenyen Gabriel have minutes?
He might have a few, but yeah, he's playing big minutes because of AD being injured. But yeah, and with AD and Thomas Bryant healthy, he won't play much. But yeah, right now he's getting a lot of minutes.
Yeah, he's auditioning for a job in probably Washington or Orlando.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Kendrick Nunn with 15. Interesting. Still, when everybody's hurt, man, it's crazy. Things get crazy. Yeah, man. I don't know. What do you do if you're the Lakers? We talk about that. We have talked about this so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you do if you're the Lakers? If you're Jared Bagley is the GM of the Lakers tomorrow.
Yeah, it's hard because it's a really bad situation they're in. But I mean, you have a generational talent in LeBron. You have to make some kind of trade. I'm not necessarily saying you have to trade both first rounds, but you at least got to trade one of them.
What years are they?
They're 2027, 2029.
What are you going to get, do you think?
So I've heard.
I mean, your best deal will come from Danny Ainge, probably.
Yeah.
Because that dude wants first round picks, like, you know.
Yeah. Best deal.
Consumes them like they're cocaine or something.
Which if they could get a Clarkson, someone like that. But I've heard Bogdanovich from the Pistons is someone they could give a pick and like either Nunn or Westbrook, maybe one other player and one pick.
Do you think that makes an impact?
I think it does. Because he's a guy that they need guys that play defense and they need spacing, and he does both of that.
His defense.
Better than their current defense though.
Bojan Bogdanovich looks like a stake president.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
He does.
That's like a super inside joke for Mormons. But he seriously looks like a dude I'd go to church with, like Brother Bojan over here.
It's true.
Brother Bojan. He had a 3 last night. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think Bojan really what is he, 34, 35 now? Yeah. I'm not saying older people can't play defense, but
Yeah.
The defense goes.
Yeah. It's definitely a win now situation. Ideally, I think the Pacers, if you could get Buddy Hield and Miles Turner for the 2 picks, and
why would the Pacers do that?
Which was talked about because the Pacers really, I mean, now I should bite my words. Halliburton's playing well and they're doing better, but they're kind of in a position where they're not going to contend, and so it's like, well,
they're not going to be contenders, but they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to maybe even win a round depending on who they draw.
True.
Let's see, where are they at right now? Are they in 5th?
I can see.
Yeah, I bet them. Sorry, they're right now.
Okay.
So they would play into the Celtics. So yeah, they would not win a round as of today. Or I guess they could play into the Nets. So they would not win a round as of today. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think you're kind of like, I don't think you can get enough for those first 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
To make a difference. Honestly, if you could, I think the Lakers sell high on Westbrook now. So if you could move Westbrook and your 2 first-round picks, if you're LA, you might be able to get enough back for that.
Totally.
Especially with, I mean, Westbrook's contract is expiring this year. Especially with how much money you'd move off of your books.
Totally.
With Westbrook, I mean, you could actually make you could go from barely making the playoffs to like a contender, I think, overnight.
Totally. Which is what I think they have.
Why don't they move? Why are they so uninterested in moving Russ, do you think?
I don't know.
To me, it makes no sense, but I'm not a Lakers fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, as a Lakers fan, are like you in on Russell Westbrook? You know what I mean?
See, I'm not. And it's interesting because I haven't been in on him the whole, ever since he signed. And he has showed, flashes of greatness as a 6th man. But that being said, I mean, 2 nights ago, for example, they have a game right at the end. It's Tiger, they're down 1, and he goes on Joel Embiid, takes the shot, doesn't even give LeBron the ball, and he does things like that.
That is classic Russ stuff.
It is.
That is classic Russ stuff. Like, if that dude, you remember, like, I remember when Carmelo was like 100 years old, right? I guess he's the same age as LeBron, playing on the same team as Damian Lillard, taking shots at the end of the game. Exactly. It's like, who are you? Like, it's because it's just like so deep in his DNA. You know what I mean? That is classic Russ stuff, though. Like, let me pull up from 18 feet.
Yeah.
And like brick off of the back iron a shot at the buzzer. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. He's playing pretty well now, especially for Russ, because to me he's such a liability. Yeah. Like, because of that kind of stuff. That, like, man, if you can move him now.
Yeah.
But who would be a target for Russ? Like, who wants him? Honestly, the only kinds of teams that really can benefit from a Russell Westbrook are the kinds of teams that are pretty much in the cellar.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, the Bulls. The Bulls would be a great trade target. Get Caruso back.
Yeah.
Get that dude back here.
And
Caruso's an incredible trade target because of his contract.
Totally.
If you could get, for your 2 picks, I mean, if the Bulls are interested in tearing down, which they should be, because whatever they're doing, it's not working.
Rumored they are as well.
Well, it's not like you've got a really good team that doesn't win.
Yeah, exactly.
So if they're interested in tearing it down a little bit, I would look for Levine, not for DeRozan.
For sure.
Because with DeRozan, you get another mid-range guy.
For sure.
Which is not what you want. At least Levine can shoot threes better. I'd look for, like, if you could get Levine, and maybe that's it.
Yeah.
For Russ and the picks. And the Bulls would benefit because they just get a guy who, I don't know, him and DeMar can run around and take whatever random ass shots they want.
Yep. And then you get Cap next year.
Yeah, then you get Cap back. And, if you could get Caruso in that trade too. I don't know if they would part with Levine and Caruso for that.
Yeah.
Caruso's just such a valuable deal.
He is.
The other person who's really valuable contract-wise right now is Darius Garland. Because he's on 6 years and he's still on his rookie extension. But he's a bubble all-star.
Yeah.
I bet if you're Cleveland, why would you? Why? It's working. Yeah. What you're doing is working.
Yeah, I don't think they'll move anything.
What do you think about the LeBron trade rumors?
Personally, I'm all for it. And the issue is, I know LeBron wants to be in LA and he wants to, but I'm all for it because LeBron is he's putting up the same numbers he was putting in his prime. And it's like, we deserve to see him in the playoffs. I want to see him in the playoffs on a team that can truly contend. And if the Lakers aren't willing to make moves and if they're not able to get a contender, I'm all for him getting traded.
That's probably the first team he's been on that won't just take his direction, basically.
Yeah.
Like when LeBron comes, he rules everything.
Mm-hmm.
King James.
Yeah.
Right. All the way from the front office to like the floor.
Mm-hmm.
He is the king. So like, yeah, the Lakers are the first team really who's like, he's wanted to move these picks and they seem like not interested in doing it.
Yeah.
It's really strange to see, that makes sense. It makes sense. The Lakers are the one organization that like wouldn't listen to a player like that. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Jared, where's your dream destination for LeBron, being the LeBron guy?
Utah, right?
I mean, well, obviously I'd love Utah.
He would never play in Utah.
That doesn't seem like very possible.
No, he would never play in Utah. He would never play in a non-major unless it was Cleveland.
For sure. And that's my non-bias. Obviously, Cleveland, they're not going to move anything right now, I think, because they're so good. I would love to see him back in Cleveland, though. You get a veteran like LeBron with some young dudes like Garland and Mitchell. That team wins a championship, in my opinion.
Yeah, that would be incredible. It depends on who they'd have to move to get him. But if I'm Cleveland, I would move Garland for it.
Totally.
He's on a great contract. I get it. But like, I don't know. You know,
your bigs, yeah.
I said actually last week on the show that like if it were me and I had Darius Garland on contract, I would not do it. I would not move him for LeBron. But if I'm Cleveland, I probably would.
Yeah.
Right, like the Ohio native. Yeah, you got it. All right, Casey. Any other random questions to ask Jared? That was the root of that question. Was who is your favorite player? I think, right? Or did
I had a fun. I'm kind of the like shake it up, fun little thing guy. So Jared, we started the show talking about sushi randomly. That surprised everybody, including me. I would like to hear your 3 words that come to mind when you think of sushi, just right off the rip. Putting the guest on the spot. Fish,
wet,
wet,
and I'm trying to think of the unique.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wet. I was not expecting wet.
I wasn't expecting most of those words, but the exercise was going to be now pick an NBA player comp for those 3.
Wow.
So maybe you go off the unique,
fish, wet, and unique. I mean, I already got it.
Fish, wet, and unique. I'm gonna go with Bull.
Yeah, okay.
Bull.
He's pretty wet.
Yeah, he's wet. He's unique. Fish, I don't know. He moves quick. He can.
I had Derek Fisher.
Okay, well, yeah. Okay.
Right, too easy.
Yeah,
but he is pretty unique and he is pretty wet.
He is.
I like that.
Shoot. Bull is actually not that wet.
Well.
He's wet from like 2 feet away.
Well, okay, but the last, I guess, yeah. As far as the shooter goes, but man, he's been dominant. He's been wet the last 4 weeks.
I like Bull.
Yeah.
I mean, he plays in Orlando, like as much as you can like anyone from Orlando. All right, here's one for you.
NBA, if you will.
here's a random one for you. What do you think of this Paolo Banchero kid? Yes, no, yeah, you in? Is he him?
He is him. I'm all in for Paolo. I think even since at Duke, I was actually a huge advocate. And so when he was picked first and people were shocked, I thought he was the number 1.
You think he's the rookie of the year?
For sure.
I think he's running away with it at this point.
For sure.
What do you think about? All right, so I'm gonna give a player comp that I think of when I think of. Well, I shouldn't put him in this category yet. But it seems like a random jump. But what do you think of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
I love his game. I think hopefully it's sad right now because the Thunder are not good, but I think he's great.
Here's where I'm at with Paolo, and Paolo's a rookie, so give him time. But here's where I'm at with SGA and where I'm at with Paolo is like it's great to be a great player and it's great to have like game that's like super aesthetically pleasing. But like if your team's not good, it's always so hard to assess how good you are. Right. So like this is kind of like the Hawks this year with DeJounte Murray. Right. Like the Hawks were already good, like really good. And they picked up an all-star in the offseason. And they didn't really move much for him. Like it was like picks and like some minor players. Like the Hawks should be really good now.
It's a steal.
But why aren't they? I think it's because it's like how good was DeJounte Murray? And I'm not saying he's not good. He is good. But like DeJounte Murray, he's sort of in this vein of like Russ Westbrook, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Paolo Banchero, DeMar DeRozan, that are like they like really like the mid-range. And I don't know that it translates to team success. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like I think of a lot of the teams that have those mid-rangers, And it's like they seem really good, but the player seems really good, but the team doesn't. Thoughts?
Yeah. I think it's interesting because I think based off what you're saying, I think there's two kinds of players. There's those who are able to adapt and dominate with other stars, and then there's those who are like that. They dominate on a small team, but once they're put with other stars, they can't play well.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard to say with them. With the Hawks, yeah, I guess it's a situation between their coaching mess with Trae Young and with DeJounte. It's not a good fit. But then you look at players like, LeBron, Wade, certain guys that have been able to make it work. I don't know. I think the test with Paulo will be to see if they do get a Victor Wembanyama, then we'll be able to really see how does he
they already have Chet Holmgren.
They do. Yeah.
Who is not Wembanyama.
Let's not.
Yeah. I'm not saying that
he's
Holmgren
better.
is this.
Yeah.
We're Gonzaga fans here.
Yeah.
So So I'm not saying that, Holmgren is as great as the great Wemby.
For sure.
but like, I don't know if they'll get Wembanyama or not, but already with Holmgren, they're supposed to have the pieces, right? Like with SGA, with Josh Giddey, and with Holmgren, you're supposed to have the pieces to be a good team.
For sure.
Do you think that SGA is a good player who gets his, or do you think he's a winner?
Yeah. Honestly, previous to this year, I thought he was a player that got his. But I will say this year, at least, he hasn't done it in the playoffs yet, and so that's a whole different story. But he's hit game winners. He's dominated the fourth quarter, and he's willed the Thunder to win games. So for now, I have to give him his props.
Okay.
I have to give it to him this year, but until it's playoff success, really, it's surface level.
Give me the answer on that same question on these other guys we're talking about, DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah. DeMar's tough for me because he is clutch. He is a winner, but
yeah, he was the clutchest player in the league last year statistically.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think he's great, but I'll say with DeMar DeRozan, I think his lack of a three-point shot really limits him and his abilities. Again, great scorer. Kind of gives me Carmelo Anthony vibes, though, in the sense of great scorer, very clutch, but until things are done in the playoffs, and you do need to have a team, and I know there's a lot of factors, but wasn't the Raptors, the guy hasn't been able to do it in Chicago. So very good regular season clutch player, but I wouldn't want him being my number one guy. On a contender.
No, I think in DeJounte Murray. Give me your read on him. I think it's what you're saying, right? Like the guys who have a three, and like Donovan Mitchell, great mid-range shooter, really good mid-range player. More dangerous from the three-point line, more dangerous around the rim.
Totally.
Right. Mid-range is the third option for him, but he's still very good, right?
Yeah.
That's the kind of player that I think it translates to team success.
Totally.
Right. Whereas like DeJounte Murray, he's on this precipice. Like he shoots right now about 35.5% from the three-point line. Not bad, not great, DeMar, I don't have him pulled up, but he's probably shot like 4 threes all year.
Yeah.
Paulo Banchero, yet to be seen, I think.
Yeah.
I think he's a big fan of that mid-range game too.
Yeah, he is. And that's one thing. When a guy's that young, I think they could still develop a three. And so it's one of those things that I've
seen that.
Yeah. It's like, we don't know yet, but yeah, he's got the mid-range. He's incredible going to the basket. But also you never know, because there was Ben Simmons that was that way, and then he digressed. And then you have other guys who do develop the three-point shot later. And so, yeah, I'll be curious to see. But DeJounte, I think he's good. I don't think he's great. And I just don't know with the Hawks. I just think just a lot of egos, not the best fit. Collins doesn't even want to be there. And so, yeah, it's a tough situation.
They should be so good. The Hawks should be. Like they're deep. Like they're one of the deepest teams in the league, honestly.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Maybe the deepest team in the league. Other than the Jazz, but they're better at the top than the Jazz are. The Jazz are deep as well, but they're not as top heavy.
For sure.
I don't know. Yeah, the Hawks, why are they in 10th or 9th or whatever they're in? What are they in? They're in 9th. They're 9th. Yeah. They should be better. Yes, like they've had injury issues, so has everybody else, right? Exactly. They're one game, looks like about one game out of 10 or out of 8. So they're right there with the Pacers, but the Pacers are supposed to be way worse than them.
Do you think the Celtics aren't one of the deepest teams?
I wouldn't characterize the Celtics as particularly deep, would you? They're very good. Very good.
Yeah. I would say, well, if you would have asked me this a year ago, maybe I would say no. But the way Grant Williams has been playing, the way Robert Williams has been playing, and they're getting Brogdon, I would consider them a deep team. I would consider them deep. Maybe like the deepest, like the Nets teams with crazy talent, but I think, yeah.
I think the main issue with the Celtics, I guess they are doing more this year. At least in playoff basketball, they only run about 7 guys through their rotation, maybe 8. Right. And so, I mean, if we're looking at their rotational players, it's like, so we've got starting 5, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, Marcus Smart. I don't know, probably Grant Williams, probably maybe Robert Williams. No, because Robert Williams will play the center. Al Horford will play a forward. All right. So then you've got Malcolm Brogdon, who I actually think is maybe a 6 man of the year. Right. Awesome. So if we're saying 6 man is deep, like, yeah, but I still deep. I'm like, where are you at like your 9th or 10th? Right. Yeah. What happens if somebody gets hurt? Grant Williams then moves to the 7th man spot. And then we're looking at Peyton Pritchard, Luke Cornett. I mean,
Robert Williams is there too. Like
Robert Williams, I said, is a starter.
Oh, okay. Did you?
Yeah. Derek White, I guess.
Derek White. He's been good.
Yeah. So we're looking at Malcolm Brogdon, Grant Williams, Derek White. That's kind of the Celtics formula, is this like 8-man, really good rotation. But then there's a big fall off, which I guess you can get by with 8. You know, how deep do you have to be considered deep?
Well, I guess the Warriors kind of set a standard now that has made deep to a new level with, you know, all their guys throughout their dynasty. And so I would say 8-9 guys good. Like, that's deep, in my opinion, honestly. And
so like a good 8.
A good 8, I'd say, is deep. Well, if they can stay healthy.
I feel like a good like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, and one thing the Celtics have done is stay healthy, right? So I'll give them that.
True.
All right. Should we do some wheel spinning?
Spin that wheel.
Spin the wheel. All right.
I don't know what's on the wheel, but spin it.
We'll spin our stuff to do wheel. There's a infinity screen.
That's a cool visual.
Yeah. So the wheel just decides what we're talking about next. That's pretty much it. I don't think I need to explain it any more than that, right? We're spinning the wheel.
Let's go.
And the wheel is landing on Twitter topic. That's fun. Okay, so all right, Casey, to you then. What do you want to where should we go down the Twitter rabbit hole? What Twitter rabbit hole should we go down here?
Okay, you got Twitter pulled up then?
Yeah, well, yes, I'm not signed into our study.
Okay.
It's a good time.
Okay. Yeah, we've done a lot of player talk. I think we could focus more on like a team, maybe like a bubble team, somebody who's kind of falling out of favor, maybe if we're searching for a topic on Twitter. Somebody like maybe like the Pacers, like some checking on like the Pacers team on Twitter.
Let's check in on the Pacers
4-game
on
losing
Twitter.
streak. They're 8th in the East.
Oh. About to lose my battery here. Where's my charger? Are you just you want to do a little share ski?
Yeah, let's do it.
Is it a USB-C charger?
Yeah.
Cool. Mine's not a USB-C, so that won't work for me. Shoot. Just doing it live here. I don't know where mine went. Somewhere.
Figuring it out.
All right. Indiana Pacers. We'll just have you monologue on the Pacers while I find my charger. All right. We got John Morant. That's not really about the Pacers. Just he's talking about people talking about dunking on. All right. Should we talk about John Morant dunking on everyone, or should we talk about the Pacers? Let's watch this again.
I mean, hey, this was meant to be John Morant just jumping up there, so why not?
Let's watch some John Morant dunks here. Who's this on?
Who doesn't love a little job?
Oh my gosh. Dude's dirty. That's a guy who, if he could shoot like 38% of the line, would be.
I got a question for you, Jared.
Yeah.
Jared, I got a question for you. Here's a Twitter topic. Do you subscribe to John's School of Thought, or do you go to Twitter dark mode? Because I am dark mode on any possible platform that has the option.
So I'm not a dark mode guy, and I think it's maybe just ignorance, lack of. I'm never in dark mode, so I'm always just on the classic white and blue.
All right. Hey, I can still respect that.
So I gotta side with him here.
It's a little easier on the eyes cool when you're on that dark mode. All right.
It is.
I want people to drop it in the comments. Are you a dark mode or a light mode user in the comments, guys? We do have some comments, by the way. Might be Orlando. Felix, I'm not totally sure. Oh, for the trade rumors. I don't know. Are we talking about The LeBron trade rumors there?
I don't know if he's talking about LeBron or.
Yeah, Felix, clarify with us who you mean here.
Where's the back of my phone?
If you're still aboard.
There we go.
John is trying to figure out how to. Okay, you know what? We're going to audible here, John. Jared, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
So, this is a topic that we brought up. We're going off of the wheel for a second while John gets stuff situated. There's a topic that I brought up that kind of gets shot down by John. John's kind of entertaining it a little bit more maybe these days, but I want your take on it. Does Steph Curry belong in? I'm not saying is he the GOAT, but does he belong in the conversation for the GOAT? And before you jump in, let me just say, kind of the main premise on it is he is part of a dynasty, team success with him on board. And if you take away like one-on-one scenarios, maybe he wouldn't thrive in those against some of the other GOATs. But for what he does, for the role he plays, you really can't play it better. That's kind of the main thesis I have there. So given how good are they at their job, that would be my my criteria for GOAT. Based on that, what do you think? What do you think about Steph being in the conversation at least?
Yeah. Well, based off that criteria and like what he's done for the game and what he does as far as for his position, everything, I definitely think he should be in the GOAT conversation.
Let's go.
I do, because here's the thing. Obviously, if we're looking at like, if you take the physical intangibles and everything, like I think LeBron and Jordan are just in a league of their own. But for Curry's size and what he's done in the game, for the game, and like how he dominates consistently, like definitely, like in my opinion, like, and if you're going to do a full like conversation, he has to be in every conversation. I personally think he's the most skilled player ever. I think as far as just sheer skill.
All right.
Yeah, let's get this guy back on the show more, John.
How many players deserve to be in the conversation for GOAT?
You're gonna ruin my fun.
How many players? Legitimate,
like legitimate GOAT.
Yeah, like hey, this person deserves a mention in this conversation. Just gut reaction. 5 players, 10 players, 2 players.
I would give honestly like 3 if you take all encompassing in basketball for just
okay. All right. So hold on.
Yeah.
LeBron is one of them for you.
For sure.
And there are 2 more spots of people who you think legitimately deserve to be in the conversation for the greatest basketball player of all time.
For sure.
And you think one of the 2 of them is Steph Curry.
No, wait. Are we going back? Are we talking like, is this different? I said all encompassing. Stephen Curry off of his criteria.
Yeah, no, Casey uses a different criteria for GOAT because he's a weird person who doesn't think of basketball as a complete game.
I loaded the question a little.
Because based off of Casey's criteria, there's more than 3. But if we're just talking like everything, like all encompassing, just
greatest basketball player of all time.
Of all time.
Does Steph Curry deserve to be in the conversation?
I wouldn't put him in for just greatest player. Off of what he's done at his position in the game, I would. But overall, I wouldn't put him in the conversation.
Yeah, I mean,
he's close. He is the GOAT.
Felix says he's the GOAT of the 3 for sure. Curry may be GOAT of playing for just one team, like Dirk. All right, cool. Also, Felix did clarify he wanted trade rumors as a topic for Twitter. That's cool. I mean, we already decided on Pacers, so I found one on the Pacers. Give me your thoughts on TJ McConnell. This dude is like legitimately one of my favorite players.
Yeah. He's the modern.
I think I've told you before that I'm like, if I could model my game after anyone, it'd be TJ McConnell.
Yeah.
But I'm just not that good.
Yeah.
I'm just not as good. Well, obviously none of us are as good. But even on my level of like grown men basketball, I'm not.
No,
Give me your thoughts on TJ McConnell. Do you think he's, I don't know. I guess like, do you have a hot take or are you just gonna be like, yeah, he's cool?
I would say he's the modern day Delhi from 2015 finals Delhi. The modern day dude, 2015 he just hustles, man. He's skilled, but he plays harder than anybody, and that's why he's in the NBA.
I don't think a player that was in his prime like less than 10 years ago needs a modern day version of this.
But we know how Delhi took over. He just doesn't get the publicity because he's in Indiana. But he does the same things. He hustles. Yeah. He works his butt off, and he's good. Yeah, I love him.
Dude, he's a dimer. Like he's a great passer. He's a really great defender. I would have called him the modern day John Stockton.
That's a great, that's more true.
You're like, who?
No.
I remember it was earlier in the show. This was a like little call out to your age. I was going to ask you like, well, when you were a kid, like who was your favorite player?
Yeah.
And I was like, when you were a kid, LeBron was.
Yeah.
LeBron's just always been your
That's
favorite
funny.
player. All right, what else on the Pacers? Former Pacer. So we could talk about Hallie, obviously, but former Pacer, TJ Warren coming on for the freaking Nets finally. Like, he's been injured for so long. You've been watching TJ Warren? Should we check in on him?
Yeah.
Should we do a little TJ Warren check-in?
I feel like he's been hurt since the bubble.
Yeah. Well, there's they played the Celtics. They lost. But TJ got his 20. Old number 1. How's he looking? Regular season. That is less good than I thought. 10.4 points per game. All right. Well, so he has some good nights. Yeah, he came on big in the bubble. And I also think, like, the best version, this is just such a team where touches are hard to find. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like, if Joe Harris is going to put up 18 points, who else is going to be scoring? I mean, Kyrie is going to get his. I guess Kevin Durant being injured makes some room, but like, yeah, this is a loaded team. All right, I got one. I'm gonna shift gears here. We're not gonna do a Twitter talk. Do another.
Before you move on, John, Felix
Yeah,
wanted to say that Portland is crazy to trade CJ McCollum. I don't know where that got sparked from.
Crazy to
but
trade CJ.
He wanted to make sure that we knew that he thought that.
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think here's the thing. I think if they're going to go to tank and essentially try to get picks, they're not crazy to do that. I see what you're saying, though, because, like, overall the trade was definitely better for the Pelicans. But I personally think Portland needs to just clean slate. I think they need to tank. And so
what does that mean?
The trade.
Do you think they need to move on?
I think they need to move off Dame. As loyal as Dame is, and I know as much as they love him, you're not going to win a championship. Look at since they've had Dame, they do not have a roster that can win. And in my opinion, if I'm not a contender, I'm moving off. It's like with the Jazz last year, what you had to do. You're not contending. I'm not a big fan of rebuilds. I've said this before. Yeah.
But there are maybe 2 or 3 GMs, head coaches I trust in this league to really rebuild a team.
Yeah.
So, like, do I trust Danny Ainge to do it? He's one of them.
For sure.
The guy in Houston, what's his name? The GM. I can't remember.
I know it was Daryl Morey, but
yeah, well, I would trust him to do a rebuild,
Yeah.
right? And he's done some successful ones. But, like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of rebuilds. So if I'm Portland, yeah, I maybe move off. But where do you target? You're not going to get the value back for him, I don't think.
Yeah.
You know, in
picks.
You're going to get picks, but picks are so.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they're trade assets as well, but yeah, I don't know. Where do you target? Who's the target for Dame? I mean, really, anybody'd love to have him, but he's expensive.
Yeah. I think
who's got the salary space or would move a marquee player?
Yeah, that's the good question. I mean, because you always hear like the Lakers or the Jazz have want him, but
I would love to have him.
It would be great, but I don't know. His contract's so big that I don't know.
Who could we even move for him? We don't have anyone on contract.
Yeah,
like that.
No way. The Jazz could. Yeah, they couldn't.
Yeah, we'd have to move like Clark. We'd have to move like our whole backcourt.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I guess our backcourt is deep, but like, I mean, if you moved Sexton and Clarkson,
yeah,
kept Conley maybe. Mm-hmm. Conley's probably on the biggest contract though.
Yeah.
So move Conley and Sexton or Conley and Clarkson, and a whole bunch of picks for Dame. I still don't think you still wouldn't need to move some salary around.
Yeah. Yeah, and even then, you're not going to win a finals with that.
We could pull up the trade finder and try it.
Yeah,
but like, Dame's on what, $45 million or something like that?
Yeah, a huge extension.
Ooh. I'm just shooting from the hip. Yeah, it's a lot though, and if they increase the salary cap, his contract states his salary will go up.
Yeah,
so he has like a protection against a salary cap increase in there, which is another little wrinkle. Felix says if Portland wants to tank, they shouldn't win twice with the Mavs in 1 week. Felix is a Mavs fan, in case you're wondering. He's a big-time Dirk fan and now a big-time Luka fan.
Cool.
All right, I want to do. Let's spin a wheel again. Spin the wheel. How are we doing on time, Casey? No, we're doing.
What's that?
Doing
good.
Asking how we're doing on time. All right, spinning.
Spin that wheel.
What do you want it to be, Jared?
Okay, probably top 10. I don't know.
Top 10. Top 10 would be fun. Hey, spin again would be fun. Oh, let's do a team check-in. Casey or Felix, whoever gets there first. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'll spin for a team check-in. This will be fun.
Okay.
NBA teams. Got an NBA teams wheel. It's been there. I just really like this is very satisfying.
It's awesome.
Are we gonna get a Nets check-in?
Nets?
Really? Like we kind of already did that. Okay, so first and foremost, do you know KD's injury status? I guess I could check my Yahoo.
It was like 2 to 4 weeks.
2 to 4 weeks.
I'm pretty sure. Around 4.
What is it? An ankle?
I don't remember. It was something, yeah, with his lower.
I mean, it's a lower.
Yeah.
It's like a lower leg injury. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant injury update, dude. Okay, but still though, like that is the team that we thought it was. Like this team we've been seeing in the last few weeks. That's the team we thought. They've moved in second in the East. Injury report. Let's see. Kevin Durant, MCL. It's MCL train. And it is. Whoa. Can you guys hear that? I don't know if you could hear that. I could. It was an ad on the website, so I went away from it. So I don't know Kevin Durant's injury status, but MCL 2 to 4 weeks. I think you were right. But let's check in on the Nets here. So Nets, they were on like one of the longest win streaks. I'll try something here. Oh yeah, you already did it. Thanks, Casey.
I got you, bro.
Dude. All right. So we got a loss to the Celtics, but other than that, of their last 10 games, we got a 1-1, 2-1, 3-1 with 1 win over the Pelicans. 3-2 with a loss to the Bulls. Dude, the Bulls are such a freaking wild card. 4-2, 5-2, 6-2 over the Hawks, 7-2 over the Cavs, 8-2 over the Bucks. So 8 of their last 10. We can keep going. They dropped 143 points on the Warriors. So that's 9-2. 10-2 with the Pistons, 11-2 with the Raps, 12-2 with the Wizards, 13-2 with the Pacers, 14-2 with the Hawks again, 15-2 with the Hornets. Last loss before that was on December 4th. So since December 4th, or let's say since December, they've lost 3 games since December started. Like this was the team we thought it was supposed to be, right? And how many games has Kevin Durant been out? So he was out against Boston. Bring me the Nets back. He was out against Boston. He was out against Miami. I never learned.
Maybe if you could give us like 1 or 2 zooms on your screen, John, it might make it easier for somebody watching to follow along. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, I don't know, Jared. Do you have thoughts on that? I just filled you in on the Nets update. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they're 3 or 4 games without him. Was he playing against the Pelicans? Yes. So their last real big challenge besides the Celtics, which they lost, he was playing. We think there's a little bit of schedule softness in that win streak for sure. I mean, I don't know. The Heat aren't really that bad. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, well, it's funny because the Nets have just disappointed. They've underperformed, but I genuinely think they're a contender at this point. It's them or Boston or Milwaukee in my Cleveland, maybe. So maybe, but
here's if this would have landed on Tier Maker.
Yeah.
I would have asked you, let's do a Tier Maker on legitimate championship contender teams in the NBA right now.
No love for the Sixers, I heard in that group. Just kind of glanced right over them.
No, you're right.
The Sixers are very capable.
They're very capable. But I personally, no love for the Sixers.
I don't think that if every team's playing their absolute best basketball, I think the Nets or the Celtics.
Yeah.
Like those are the only real contenders.
No Bucks.
I don't think they're deep enough.
Yeah.
I mean, that Giannis factor could go a long way.
For sure.
I'd probably put them in the tier. You know what I mean? If we're doing a tier maker, I'd put them in that S tier of like true contenders.
For sure.
But I don't even think I'd put a team in the West in the true contender status. Yeah. Would you? I mean, Denver?
Yeah. Honestly, Denver and maybe the Clippers.
That's exactly who I was going to say. Even though they're sitting there in 5th or 6th, they're probably like the only team from the West that I'm like, they could match up.
Yeah, and I think they'd lose to any team that wins in the East.
They could try. They could match up.
Yeah.
But unless you got some like Kawhi playoff magic.
Totally.
You know,
Weird
which
time
I don't.
to
I do.
split.
Could Kawhi play 7 games in a row? Like, I don't think so.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, this guy plays like 1 game a week. Some
Yeah.
weeks, not even every week. Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. Should we do one more spin and then I don't know, bounce? What are you thinking? How are we doing, Casey?
Let's
I'll
do
let
it.
you make decisions here. One more spin.
Do it feels right. Do it feels right. Do a spin.
All right.
Give me a
Let's
spin.
do a spin. All right.
All
Let me
right.
switch to the other one here. Unless Felix has a specific topic he would like us to cover.
He's been saying the Magic like crazy. He has.
You
been
really
saying
do? You really want to talk about the Magic? I think he just wants to talk about the Magic because he knows we don't want to.
Orlando might be Orlando.
Yeah. By
Orlando.
the way, I do want to call out this comment from Felix. Classic Ben Simmons stat line. 0 points and 13 assists. I didn't even catch that when we were looking at it. I think I just wasn't surprised by it. You know, at this point, if Ben Simmons, old Benny 1 point, gets 0 points, it's like, oh, whatever. Same thing.
Pretty par for the course.
Classic Ben Simmons. All right. I don't know. You want to talk about the – we already talked about Paulo Banchero. What else is there to talk about on the Magic? We talked about Bol too.
True. Hey, you got your Magic.
Yeah, we already covered the Magic.
Yeah.
All right. We're doing a spin. Felix, just be here for the whole show. That's on you, man.
In case you missed it, Bol is the sushi of the NBA.
Yes.
That's really what
No
we took away
doubt.
from this episode.
Yeah. All right. Well, I messed up my wheel of names, so we're gonna just go to. I didn't say what happened. So
Let's do a little tier maker. We kind of just did it for the East.
yeah, you want to do
the
tier
West.
maker?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's do a tier maker. We did tier maker on the East. Let's do a tier maker on who do you think has a legitimate chance to come out of the West?
Mhm. You want me to go?
Yeah. So S tier. We'll give it like what's the S tier of like, which is I don't understand this at all. Maybe you can explain it, Casey. But when people do tier makers, they like start with S and then they go to A. So it's like S, A, B, C.
Okay.
It's real. It's real life. I mean, that's what people do. I didn't make up the format. It's just what people
Do you know why though? What does S stand for?
like special. I don't know.
Special.
Something good.
Super.
Something just like in general.
Something
good.
good.
Yeah,
Something.
super duper.
Special. Yeah. The special. All right. Starting with the S tier. That's like here are the most real true contenders. What do you think coming out of the West?
So I have 4, which is kind of a lot.
4
So-
for the S tier.
I do, because here's the thing. Currently, some of these are going to sound crazy, but I think once you get to the playoffs, things change. And here's why. So I think Clippers and Nuggets, as we said, I think those two are definitely. This one's going to surprise you, but I'm a huge Pelicans guy, and I think the Pelicans could do it in the West this year. The way it's kind of playing, and with a healthy Zion, and if Brandon Ingram comes back, I think they could do it. And the other team, I know right now this sounds like very dumb, but I can't bet against the Warriors. Once they get in the playoffs,
Oh.
yeah. Once they're in the playoffs, it's like LeBron. If they're in it, you have to they're a legitimate contender.
Yes. Give me Casey. I would put the Pelicans in the A tier.
Mm-hmm.
Casey, give me a tiebreaker on this. Pelicans S tier, Pelicans A tier.
I think that, man, that's a tough one. That's tough. I think my natural response is A, but like maybe they've played their way up there, but naturally I want to go A with it. It feels
I
right
can't
now.
rely enough on Zion's health.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's it. I can't rely enough on Zion's health.
I think
All
they
right, so
might be
officials-
top of the A tier. You know what I mean? Like
Right. Official. They're kind of like an SA like hybrid. What do you call that? They're like a cusper. You know what I mean? They're on the cusp.
Yeah, Felix also agrees. He goes A tier. They don't have enough experience.
Yeah. That is the issue.
Yeah.
Last year helped though.
I mean,
but
apparently the
Do you think
Blazers
there's a
trade.
chance that you can perform so good in the regular season that you kind of get smelling yourself a little bit? You go into the playoffs without like a lot of playoff experience and kind of early exit, or just not reach those heights you wanted to hit in playoff ball because you kind of like, oh yeah, we're good. We can beat regular season teams. Then like a team like the Warriors, who's been there, like you said, like can't count them out. You're like, no, we play playoff ball here. Like, is there a factor in that?
I think that in the West, there's some landmine matchups with low seeds. So as of right now, if the playoffs started today, the Pelicans would have the Clippers in the first round.
Oh, yeah.
Right. The Grizzlies would have the Warriors in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's like a just recipe for a 7-2 upset or a 6-3 upset. You know what I mean? So that's where I am with the Pelicans is I mean, they get out of the first. I don't see them coming out of the West. You know what I mean? And honestly, yeah, I'm going to put the Clippers out in that S tier as like a, just respect. But really, they're kind of one that I'm like, I just don't see Kawhi. And can a Kawhi-less Clippers come out of the West? So that's my question.
Yeah, no, they have to have Kawhi.
And
even then,
he's not made it through a playoffs.
I'd put them in the A tier too, honestly. Like,
yeah.
I don't know why they deserve S tier, honestly.
I would, okay, if I were to give you one, Clippers or Pelicans, they get to be in the S tier. The other one has to go to A.
Both fully healthy.
Whichever one most likely to come out of the West.
I would trust the Clippers more than the Pelicans.
Okay.
I put them ahead.
All right. A tier. I'll go here. So A tier, like kind of an outside shot to come out of the West. I'm going to go. So the Lakers are a weird one because if they actually make a move before the trade deadline and it's a good move, they could go from being not in the playoffs to being a contender, like we've talked about. But where they stand today, no. Timberwolves are also a weird one for that same reason. Like, what happens when Cat comes back? A tier, I'm going to go with Mavericks, Pelicans, Grizzlies. That's it. Suns.
Did we get the Kings in the S tier?
I don't have them. No, I don't have them in the A tier.
Oh, wow.
I think they're in the B tier.
Yeah.
I think they're where the Jazz are.
Yikes.
You have any disagreements on the A tier?
No.
What about the Suns? Where do you put the Suns?
So that's actually, I had Mavericks, Grizzlies, and I do still put the Suns in the A tier, assuming because I know right now they're like the 12th seed, but with Booker back, Aiden,
they're missing their backcourt.
Yeah, I'd still put them as an A tier. Not quite good enough, but Kings are right on that cusp.
Who did you knock out from what I said? I said Pelicans, Mavs.
Well, I had the Pelicans in my S tier, so that was the difference.
I said Grizzlies. You don't have Grizzlies in there, Terry?
Oh no. So I had Memphis and the Mavericks and the Suns.
Okay. So let's say we technically had to knock the Pelicans down into the A tier.
Okay. If I had
let's say you only have 3 spots. Who would you knock into the next tier?
It's
got to be the Suns.
I'd actually knock the Mavs. I don't.
As good as Luka
is, they're not deep.
Me too.
All. Yeah.
Me too. I love me some Luka.
Oh, he's
cute incoming Felix comment.
Yeah, Felix.
Sorry, Felix. Christian Wood is your second best player. Is just not.
Yeah, sorry. Spencer Dinwiddie is your number 2 guy.
How are you guys gonna feel if the Kings do go on a deep playoff run? How are you gonna feel?
Deep playoff run's fine. We're talking about coming out of the West, though. Casey.
What if they do? What if they do?
That'd be awesome.
Shocked. I'd love it.
I'd be so proud of them.
Yeah.
I'd be so proud of the I'd like, hey, that'll be fun. Yeah. That'll be fun. You losing to whoever came out of the East in 4 games.
Yeah.
That'd be super fun.
Yeah, I'd be shocked.
All right, B tier. Let's stop it at the B tier. B tier. So who did we knock down? Mavs. Mavs are at the top of the B tier. Jazz, Timberwolves, Blazers. If we can only choose 3, it's out of those 4. All right, give me your thoughts.
Do we have to put the Kings though? Don't we have to put the Kings?
Oh yeah, Kings. Yeah, so Mavs, Kings, and then it's gonna be Jazz, Timberwolves, Blazers. So that last spot in the B tier is probably, I'm guessing, for you as well, between the Jazz, Timberwolves, and the Blazers, or would you knock the Kings down?
So we're
Jazz fans, so there's going to be some bias here.
Yeah, well, true. But here's the thing: you guys are shocked with me. We had Kings and Mavs, and I know
you got Kings. Just to be clear, you have Kings as more likely than the Jazz.
Yes. Kings, Mavs.
I do as well.
Now this is a tough one. It's between as I know this is going to be crazy, and you're going to think I'm biased because I love LeBron. It's between the T-Wolves and the Lakers for my last spot. And the reason I say that, the Lakers I know right now are not in that race, but they're like 2 games out of the 6th seed. And I trust the Lakers more than the Blazers or the Jazz, if I'm being honest.
I think the Lakers might mess around and miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's the only problem.
They might. That's the issue.
Have to come out of the West when you don't make the playoffs.
I'm actually in on the Timberwolves. I think they're pretty good with their full with Cat back.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards is a really good basketball player, and D'Lo's really good too. D'Angelo Russell's kind of underrated. He's a great pick and roll player, and so is Rudy. Those two get the pick and roll figure out, and then you've got spacing with Cat, you've got spacing with Anthony Edwards, you got spacing with I don't know, all their other guys really. Everyone else on that team shoots.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm in on the Timberwolves, honestly.
Yeah. I think they take my last spot too. Lakers are right there, but I'd take
if the Lakers make a move though.
If they make a move, they'll B or A tier.
Yeah. All right, that was a fun one. Felix, yeah, thanks for not being too mad about us moving the Mavs down. I agree. I it's a lot of Luka to get all the way through the West, you know. I mean, the fact that he basically carried him to the Western Conference Finals last year, but Jalen Brunson was a big part of that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Jared, thank you for being here, my guy.
Thank you for having me.
Casey, give me a fist bump this way.
This way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Good fist bump. All right, Casey, say all the YouTube things. Take us out.
All right, Triple Cross. It's been a fun one. Thank you for tuning in to this basketball episode of the Triple Cross podcast. Thanks, Jared, for joining us. Thanks, John, as always, for running this show for us. And until next time, you keep it real.